Hello, I am Dr. Rajnikant, Assistant Professor, Department of Physiology. I will start classes in the continuation of the exercise. In the last class, as we have studied about the energy sources of the exercise, and in the current class, we will read about the physiological changes in the exercise, the major changes in the exercise. This is the main chapter of the exercise. This class is really concerned with the examination. What are the physiological responses occurs in the exercise, or what are the accommodative reflexes occurs in the exercise. Then the major changes in the exercise are oxygen uptake, second is respiratory changes, cardiovascular changes, and last changes at the tissue level. The basic things goes to respiratory system and the CVS, cardiovascular system. Oxygen uptake. About the oxygen uptake, I taught in the last class, and in the continuation, it is the what are the respiratory changes. The changes are what type of changes occurs in the exercise. The basically changes depends on the is meant to increase the oxygen supply to the tissue and promote the oxygen utilization by the tissue. Main things of the exercise is to how we supply oxygen, and the supplied oxygen are utilized by which means. Oxidation of the fuel is required for the supply of energy during the exercise. Basic things is supply of oxygen and promote utilization of the oxygen, and this oxygen is really meant for the oxidation of the fuel, which provide energy for the exercise. The respiratory changes. Primary objective of the respiratory changes are to facilitate oxygen consumption in the body to meet the metabolic need during the exercise. Second is hyperventilation that occurs during the exercise, remove excess of the CO2 produced during the exercise. The hyperventilation stimulation increase the rate of respiration, that remove the waste product, the CO2 produced during the exercise. That's why the arterial partial pressure of O2 and the partial pressure of CO2 are maintained to the normal level even during the strenuous exercise. This is the main adaptation. The purpose of the adjustment or acclimatization is to maintain the arterial partial pressure of O2 and partial pressure of the CO2. The major respiratory changes are, two things are there. First is the increase in ventilation, and second is the increased oxygen uptake by the lung. First thing is the increased ventilation, how we take oxygen from the atmosphere, and second thing is to how the lung utilize the taken oxygen, by which means the oxygen is utilized by the lung. These two things are studied in the respiratory changes. The basic things of the changes is mean to increase the oxygen supply to the tissue and promote the oxygen utilization by the tissue. Increased ventilation. Increased ventilation matches the metabolic demand of the exercise, and ventilation may increase to up to 20 folds. How this ventilation increases up to 20 folds and how our body maintains during the exercise, these changes. This is the things studied in the respiratory changes. The pulmonary ventilation increases linearly with the increase in the intensity of the exercise until the anaerobic threshold is reached. The anaerobic threshold is the term defined as anaerobic threshold is the level of the activity, that is the level of the exercise that produces an elevation of the blood lactate level that result from the aerobic to anaerobic metabolism. After certain stage, the stage of the exercise converted to the from anaerobic to the anaerobic. In that process, the lactate level of the blood rises. This is the anaerobic threshold, at which point our exercise level changes from aerobic to the anaerobic. Also known as the lactate threshold, that is, a lactate level rises with the exercise. In athletes and in non-athletes, in athletes the lactate threshold occurs at the higher level than the non-athletes. This line simply explains the in athletes there is adjustment with the regular exercise. So in athletes the lactate threshold occurs at the higher level. The anaerobic threshold occurs at approximately 60% of the maximal exercise level, regardless of the level of the physical fitness of that person. Above the anaerobic threshold, pulmonary ventilation increases out of proportion to the increase in the oxygen consumption. This is the things in the earlier slide I said that the oxygen consumption increases linearly, and above the anaerobic threshold, aerobic threshold, that is at the anaerobic level, the pulmonary ventilation increases out of proportion. The graph varies from that, from the anaerobic level. Why this occurs? This occurs because the produced lactic acid imposes additional respiratory drive. The produced lactic acid produces an effect on the respiratory center to increase the ventilation out of proportion of the oxygen consumption. Pulmonary ventilation depends upon the rate and the depth of the respiration, with increase in the intensity of the exercise. As far as the intensity of the exercise increases, the tidal volume increases rapidly to its optimum value, beyond which ventilation is largely increased by increase in the rate of the respiration. This line explains, this shows that during the pulmonary ventilation basically depends on the rate and the depth of the respiration. Depth of the respiration is the tidal volume. But there is a limitation for the tidal volume. After that, the tidal volume does not increase. Then it is adjusted by the rate of the respiration. Rate of the respiration rises, and that accommodates the pulmonary ventilation. At rest, respiratory rate is up to 12 to 14 per minute, and tidal volume is up to 500 ml. Pulmonary ventilation is the product of the rate of the respiration and the tidal volume, which is approximately up to 6 to 7 liters per minute and in the rest condition. During heavy exercise, rate of the respiration may increase up to 40 per minute and the tidal volume to up to a limit of 2.5 liters. The pulmonary ventilation at that time is the product of the rate and the tidal volume is up to 100 liters per minute. Thus, even in the strenuous exercise, severe heavy exercise, the minute ventilation remains below the maximum breathing capacity of the individual. The maximum breathing capacity of the individual is 100 to 120 ml per minute. Now, how this ventilation increases? The mechanism by which the ventilation is adjusted is mechanism of increased ventilation is still not clearly known. But the effect of the increased ventilation is possibly mediated through, it is expected that certain factors occurs, though it is not proved, but we expect possibilities in that occurs. The four things: neural things, chemical things, humoral things, and thermal things. In the neural play important role than the chemical mechanism. We are thinking of that there is role of chemical, but After the explanation, we will think of that there is a role of neural mechanism more than the chemical mechanism. That is, this mechanism of neural mechanism, probability of the neural mechanism is supported by the observation that the pulmonary ventilation increases abruptly just at the beginning of the exercise, followed by gradual further increase in the exercise. Is continued. At the end of the exercise, there occurs an abrupt moderate decrease followed by further decline during the recovery phase. This shows that the rate of respiration, rate of the pulmonary ventilation increases in the beginning of the exercise before the chemical process occurs. This shows that there is a role of neural mechanism. This abrupt beginning and decline in the pulmonary ventilation supports neural mechanism. Ventilation increases abruptly at the beginning of the exercise due to the cyclic stimuli originated at the limbing system. This shows that there is occurrence of neural mechanism, as in chemical mechanism that will take certain times to occur, but we are saying that the pulmonary ventilation increases abruptly at the beginning of the exercise. Impulses from the proprioceptor receptors in the muscles, joint and the ligament also contribute to it. The basic things arises from the limbic system, but the impulses from the proprioceptive receptor of the muscle, joints and ligaments also contribute to it acts as the stimuli of the limbic system. Now the chemical mechanism does not play main role in the exercise. Hyperapnea. Its role occurs in the later phase of the exercise as alveolar and the arterial partial pressure of the O2 and CO2 are maintained during the exercise. Following role have been suggested. Role of the arterial partial pressure of O2, role of the arterial partial pressure of CO2 and the role of the pH. Exact mechanism is not known but suggested that accentuation of the normal oscillation in the partial, the range, the lower range and upper range, that is the oscillation of the normal range of the partial pressure of CO2 and partial pressure of CO2 synchronizes with the respiration. This oscillation stimulates the carotid body, and from the carotid body chemoreceptors stimulate, and that chemoreceptor stimulate the increase in the ventilation. How arterial partial pressure is related? In spite of rapid utilization of the O2 that utilizes in the exercise, by the arterial partial pressure of the O2 is maintained due to proportionate increase in the ventilation. As oxygen is continuously used in the exercise, so that after that the arterial partial pressure of O2 is maintained due to the proportionate increase in the ventilation. This occurs as strenuous exercise is continued. This produces lactic acid. Lactic acid causes stimulation of the ventilation, and that maintains the arterial partial pressure of the O2. Oxygen is believed to play some role. Some people say that the supply of oxygen or extra supply of the oxygen will help in that situation, but this shows oxygen is believed to play some role in the inducing ventilation. As experimentally it is observed, in experiment it is proved that increase in ventilation is in less magnitude while breathing air than breathing 100% pure oxygen. Arterial partial pressure of CO2, despite increase in the production of the CO2, like the continuous utilization of the O2, there is continuous production of the CO2 from metabolic active tissue. In exercise, the arterial partial pressure of CO2 remains normal in mild to moderate exercise because hyperventilation removes the extra CO2 produced by the muscle metabolism. Ventilation is stimulated due to the increase in the chemoreceptor sensitivity. Like in the last slide, in the external exercise that produces the lactic acid promotes the ventilation, chemoreceptors, CO2 or fluctuation of the CO2 beyond lactate threshold. Further stimulation of the ventilation removes more CO2 than the amount of CO2 produced. Above the threshold level of the lactate threshold, as lactic acid is a stimulant for the ventilation, increased ventilation, that removes more CO2 than the CO2 produced. In the sternus exercise, partial pressure of CO2 falls because the ventilation, increased ventilation causes more wash out of the CO2, the partial pressure of CO2 falls. But in spite of the decline in the partial pressure of CO2, the ventilation is stimulated by fall in the pH. The role of the pH comes now. Arterial pH, the lactic acid is produced with the excess anaerobic metabolism in severe exercise. Lactic acid produced is buffered, and in the process of buffering, CO2 is produced, and that more produced CO2 further stimulates ventilation. Further continuation of the exercise beyond the lactate threshold. Further continuation of the exercise beyond the lactate threshold, exhaustion of the lactate buffering, that causes the accumulation of the CO2, and the accumulation of the CO2 causes decrease in the blood pH. Decrease in the blood pH creates metabolic acidosis. Activation of the chemoreceptor and the chemoreceptor at the carotid and the aortic body is stimulated, and that stimulated carotid and the aortic body stimulate the ventilation. Now the humoral mechanisms are not reported to play a role in the exercise hyperemia. Thermogenic mechanism, in thermogenic mechanism, the exercising muscles generate heat. Increase in the body temperature causes a stimulation of the ventilation. Now increase in the oxygen uptake. Hyperventilation in the exercise increases oxygen uptake in the lung. This maintains the arterial oxygenation. Maximum oxygen uptake may be about 20 times the resting oxygen uptake. In severe exercise, oxygen uptake is raised from 250 ml per minute at rest to about 4 liters per minute. This is the point about the oxygen uptake. This shows that in hyperventilation, in exercise increases oxygen uptake in the lung. Now the mechanism of the increased oxygen uptake. Increased alveolar to arterial gradient of the partial pressure of O2. In exercise, the skeletal muscle extract more oxygen from the arterial blood. That's why the oxygen content of the venous blood is decreased. That venous blood reaching to the lung is decreased by about 5 times. It is from 15 ml per 100 ml of the blood to the 3 ml per 100 ml of the blood, that there is more extraction of the oxygen from the arterial blood. That's why the venous blood reaching to the right side of the heart, it has decreased amount of the oxygen. This further increases the partial pressure of O2 gradient from alveolar air to pulmonary capillary of the blood. Hence, oxygen uptake in the lung is increases. Second is increased pulmonary perfusion. Previously, I said there is increase in the cardiac output. Increase in the cardiac output causes increase in the pulmonary blood flow, and increased pulmonary blood flow causes more blood passes through the lung per unit of the time. Then more quantity of the oxygen is uptake by the lung, as already there is a deficit in the oxygen in the venous blood. Third is the increased diffusion capacity of the alveolo-capillary membrane. As the increased cardiac output causes increased pulmonary blood flow, increased pulmonary blood flow causes opening of the closed capillaries that remain closed at the rest. It also opening of the closed capillaries also causes increased surface area available for the diffusion. And the surface area available for the diffusion increases, that promotes better alveolar perfusion, better exchange of the gases. More area is available for the exchange of the gases. Diffusion capacity of the lung increases 3 times. Raises from 21 ml per minute per mm of Hg to the 65 ml. Factors that limit the oxygen uptake by the muscles. 5 major processes are involved in the transport of the oxygen from the atmosphere to the mitochondria in the exercising muscles. That is, alteration in any of these mechanisms by the physiological or the pathological processes could retard the final oxygen uptake by the lung. These are: first is the pulmonary ventilation that facilitates oxygen delivery to the alveoli in the lung. From the atmosphere, oxygen goes to the lung. First step is. Second is the pulmonary perfusion that promotes pickup of the oxygen from the alveoli. Third is the ventilation perfusion ratio contribute to the oxygenation of the arterial blood. Fourth is the dynamism of the circulation that delivers oxygen from lung to the muscle. How the absorbed oxygen is delivered to the muscle. Extraction of the oxygen from the blood by the exercising muscle. The final muscle oxidative process. Now the oxygen reaches to the muscles, and after the approaching to the muscles oxygen, how oxygen is utilized? It depends on the adequacy of the muscles blood flow. Oxygen delivery to the tissue. Partial pressure of the oxygen gradient between the blood and the muscles mitochondria. Last is the aerobic metabolic capacity of the muscle cells. The aerobic metabolic capacity of the muscles define how much oxygen can be absorbed. Now, this was the respiratory response or respiratory adaptation. Now the cardiovascular responses to the exercise. The primary aim remains the same as in the respiratory and as in the CVS. The cardiovascular response to the exercise. Primary aim of the CVS changes. Primary aim of the CVS changes in the exercise is to supply adequate oxygenated blood to exercising muscle at the rate that meets their metabolic demand. This is achieved by following CVS response. Purpose of the CVS response or the purpose of the CVS changes is the oxygen goes to the muscles at the rate of the metabolic demand, and that occurs by the increase in the cardiac output, increase in the skeletal muscle blood flow, redistribution of the blood flow in the body, changes in the blood pressure and changes in the blood volume. The CVS responses goes to first is the increase in the cardiac output. Depending upon the severity of the exercise, output increases from its resting level of the 5 liter per minute to about 25 liter per minute. In athletes, the maximum increase in the cardiac output is greater than in non-athletes. During the strenuous exercise, in strong athletes, cardiac output may increase up to 35 to 50 cardiac output 35 to 50 ml per minute. 35 to 50 liter per minute. Sorry. Increase in the cardiac output is proportionate to the increase in the oxygen consumption. Since the cardiac output is the product of the heart rate and the stroke volume. An increase in both contribute to the increase in the cardiac output during the exercise. As about the heart rate increases linearly with the severity and the duration of the exercise up to a maximum limit, which is determined either by the formula, either it is 220 is deducted with the age, or 210 is deducted by the product of the age into 0.65. This heart rate is the maximum heart rate. Increase in the heart rate causes palpitation that everyone has personally experienced during the exercise. Increase in the heart rate occurs as soon as the exercise begins or may be seen even before beginning of the exercise. This before beginning of the exercise, the increase in the pulse rate is known as anticipatory tachycardia. The factor contributing to the tachycardia: increased sympathetic discharge. First is the increased sympathetic discharge originating centrally. Centrally means central nervous system. Increased motor activity during the exercise is responsible for the tachycardia. Even the thought of exercise stimulates the hypothalamic defense area, bringing about the intense sympathetic discharge and cause anticipatory tachycardia. This is the mechanism of anticipatory tachycardia. As I said, anticipatory tachycardia is the tachycardia occurs before the starting of the exercise, and the mechanism of anticipatory tachycardia is this is the stimulation of the hypothalamic defense area, bringing about the intense sympathetic discharge and causes anticipatory tachycardia. Muscles, heart rate reflex or the peripheral reflexes. Peripheral reflexes stimulate the increase in the heart rate from the joint and causes the peripheral reflexes originating from the exercising muscles and the joint that increases the heart rate, known as the muscles heart reflexes, causes tachycardia as soon as the exercise begins. In the anticipatory tachycardia, it was before the beginning of the exercise, but in the muscles heart reflexes or the peripheral reflexes are stimulated after or as soon as the exercise begins. Humoral mechanism: release of adrenaline and noradrenaline and thyroid hormone during the exercise are responsible for increase in the heart rate in sustained exercise. Thermogenic stimulations: continued exercise produces heat, and produced heat stimulates pacemaker activity, and that causes increase in the heart rate. Intrinsic factor: increase in the heart rate due to stimulation of the AC node in the right atrium due to increased venous return. This is the vein bridge reflex, and this may be a short notes or a viva question. What is vein bridge reflex? This is increase in the heart rate after the stimulation of the AC node, but the stimulation of the AC node by the increase in the venous return. Local metabolic factor: muscles tissue have free nerve endings which are stimulated by the lactic acid and other metabolites. Collected during the exercise causes sustained increase in the heart rate during the prolonged exercise. Tachycardia continued for sometimes even after the cessation of the exercise, because tachycardia is continued after the cessation of the exercise, after the end of the exercise, because certain local metabolites in the muscles, humoral factor or increase in the temperature is there. Increase in the stroke volume, as cardiac output is the product of the pulse rate, heart rate and the stroke volume. What are the changes in the stroke volume? The amount of the blood. What is stroke volume? The stroke volume is amount of the blood pumped out by each ventricle per beat or per contraction. Under normal conditions, the average stroke volume is 80 ml per beat. It increases up to twice the normal value during the exercise. Stroke volume increases simultaneously along with the heart rate. But in isometric exercise, both the heart rate and the stroke volume increases, but increase in the stroke volume is much less. And in isotonic exercise, it is increase in the stroke volume is much more than the heart rate. This is differences in the isometric and isotonic exercise. In isotonic, it is the stroke volume, and in isometric exercise, the isometric exercise in which the length of the muscles does not change, it is the heart rate which increases the cardiac output. As vagal tone is high in the athletes, the increased target cardiac output is maintained mainly by the increase in the stroke volume. As we are knowing, athletes have bradycardia. Athletes are suffering from the bradycardia, so that the cardiac output here is maintained by the stroke volume. Now the mechanism of the increased stroke volume. Mechanism of the increased stroke volume is two causes are there. Increase in the sympathetic discharge, and second is the increase in the end-diastolic volume. As increase in the sympathetic discharge causes increase myocardial contractility, and that myocardial increase in the myocardial contractility increases the stroke volume. Increase in diastolic volume. In diastolic volume is related with the Frank-Starling law. That is, either it is the return of the blood, which is the venous return, due to the increased activity of the skeleton. How venous return increases? Four causes is there. First is due to increase in the activities of the skeletal muscle pump. Second is due to the thoracic pump. Third is the abdominal pump. And last is the sympathetic vasoconstriction. These four factors that increases the venous return to the heart. And when the venous return to the heart is increases up to a limit, the Frank-Starling law set up, and that causes the increased stroke volume. But the Frank-Starling law, in the beginning of the Frank-Starling law, it is stated that within the limit, not outside the limit, but within the limit, the venous return is increased by four mechanisms. Increase is, second is after the cardiac output. Second is increase skeletal muscle blood flow. The blood flow to the muscles increases. At rest, the skeletal muscle blood flow is 2 to 4 ml per 100 gram of the tissue per minute, which accounts for about 1/6 of the cardiac output. The total muscle blood flow is approximately 750 to 800 ml per minute. During the strenuous exercise, the skeletal muscle blood flow can increase up to 20 times. That is equal to 50 to 80 ml per 100 gram per minute. This occurs due to the arteriolar dilatation and the opening of the closed capillaries. The mechanism of the increased skeletal muscle blood flow is, there are three mechanisms: autonomic, metabolic and hormonal. Autonomic, the sympathetic innervation of the skeletal muscle is cholinergic, which is called sympathetic vasodilator system. These fiber dilates only the arterioles. The metabolic, in the prolonged exercise, accumulation of the metabolites like the CO2, lactic acid, potassium ion, decreased O2 content, accumulation of the hydrogen ion in the tissue, rise in the temperature causes dilatation of the arteriole and the precapillaries. The metabolic vasodilatation maintains blood flow during the recovery phase also. Third is the hormonal mechanism. In the skeletal muscle, blood vessels contain both alpha and the beta adrenergic receptor. These two receptors counter each other in their action and may not contribute significantly, but some authors believe that the adrenaline through the beta receptor mediates vasodilatation and contributes to the increase in the blood flow to the muscles before, during and after the exercise. Third is the redistribution of the blood flow. Increase in the skeletal muscle blood is not only due to the cardiac output but also to the redistribution of the blood from other area of the body blood. Its centralized, which focus to the exercising muscle. The sympathetic vasoconstriction in the visceral and cutaneous muscular bed diverts blood to the exercising muscles. The coronary and the cerebral circulation maintains blood flow as the circulation in the coronary and the cerebellum is necessary for the life. So, coronary and the cerebral circulation maintain blood flow as vasoconstriction occur in the cerebral vessel, but the degree of the vasoconstriction is late, and the metabolic vasodilatation immediately follows the sympathetic vasoconstriction in the cerebellum. During the exercise, sympathetic vasodilation occurs in the coronary blood vessels due to the presence of large number of the beta receptors in the coronary arteries. In the coronary arteries or in the heart, there are large number of the beta receptors. That why after stimulation of the sympathetic system due to the beta receptor in the coronary vessels, there occurs dilatation. Also, metabolic factor also contribute here for the dilatation. The blood flow to the adipose tissue is increased during the exercise, that helps in the lipolysis. Fourth is the fourth is the blood pressure changes. In systemic circulation, the systolic blood pressure always rises in the exercise and proportionate to the increase in the cardiac output. Blood pressure remains elevated during the exercise and is not reflexly corrected by the baroreceptor. Here the baroreceptor correction mechanism is distorted. Now about the diastolic blood pressure, in the diastolic blood pressure changes is negligible because the diastolic blood pressure depends on the circumference or the radius of the artery, and the radius diastolic blood pressure depends on the peripheral resistance and the radius of the artery. In mild to moderate exercise, vasoconstriction induced by the sympathetic activation increases diastolic blood pressure, but it is up to few. In moderate and the severe exercise, because of the vasodilatation, decreased peripheral resistance, which in turn decreases diastolic blood pressure. The vasodilatation in severe exercise occurs due to the sympathetic cholinergic vasodilatation of the skeletal muscle blood vessel. Second is the metabolic vasodilatation, and third is the thermogenic vasodilatation. About the mean blood pressure, in the mild to the moderate exercise of the skeletal muscles, it increases. In severe and continued exercise, mean blood pressure gradually falls as the diastolic BP falls. The pulse pressure becomes very wide as the systolic blood pressure increases and the diastolic blood pressure decreases. The increased pulse pressure helps in promoting perfusion of the skeletal muscles. In Viva question, we are asking about question, if the pulse pressure increases, what will occur? So, then we will answer this. In increased pulse pressure helps in promoting perfusion of the skeletal muscles. But in pulmonary circulation, that was about the systemic circulation, and this is about the pulmonary circulation. Pressure in the pulmonary artery does not rise much. It provides low resistance to the blood flow to make marked increase in the number of the open closed capillaries in the lung. Systolic and the diastolic blood pressure changes in the pulmonary circulation is of less importance. Changes in the blood volume. In exercise, basically the blood volume decreases. It is decreases up to 15 to 20%, and that decrease in the blood volume causes the hemo concentration. Decrease in the blood volume is due to the leakage of the plasma. The four mechanisms are there. First is the increased hydrostatic pressure that causes extravasation of the fluid from the capillary. And second is the accumulation of the osmotically active metabolite in the tissue. Reverses the normal filtration gradient. That's why water moves into the interstitial tissue space rather than it will comes to the manular capillaries. Third is the increase in the sweating and the evaporation from the skin during the exercise, contribute to fall in the effective blood volume. In prolonged exercise, redistribution of the blood volume to the skin to increase cutaneous blood flow for heat transfer from body decreases effective blood volume. The hemoconcentration that occurs after the loss of the plasma or the loss of the fluid from the body causes increase in the viscosity of the blood. Increase in the viscosity of the blood is beneficial as increased viscosity causes increased oxygen carrying capacity of the blood due to the relative increase in the red cell concentration of the mass, and second is the buffering capacity of the blood is increased due to the increased concentration of the plasma protein. Applied is in the case of the severe strenuous exercise, the dehydration produced during the exercise should be treated with the water containing salt. This is the reason we are not taking only water, we are taking water with salt, that are more effective means of the restoring blood fluid volume after the severe exercise or during the severe exercise. Other changes at the tissue level. Large amount of oxygen from the blood, utilizing oxygen in the exercising tissue, facilitate removal of the CO2 from the tissue to the blood. These are achieved by increased blood flow to the skeletal muscle, supply more oxygen to the tissue. First is oxygen is supplied to the tissue, and last is how CO2 is removed from the tissue. So, increased blood flow to the skeletal muscle supplies more oxygen to the tissue. Opening of the muscles capillaries increases perfusion, and this opening also increases the surface area for the exchange of the gases between the blood and the muscles. Increased partial pressure of O2 gradient as exercising muscle rapidly utilizes oxygen. The gradient of the oxygen between the capillary blood and the muscle tissue is increased. This facilitates O2 extraction from the capillary blood to the tissue fluid. Increased oxidative metabolism. Muscle metabolism is increased by the activation of the oxidative enzyme. Right shift of the oxygen dissociation curve, which promotes more easily removal of the O2 oxygen. Now there is short notes for the cardiovascular changes in the isometric exercise. What are the changes occurs in the isometric exercise? In cardiovascular changes. In cardiovascular, there is changes in the isometric exercise. The heart rate increases as soon as the exercise begins and continue to increase throughout the exercise. Tachycardia at the beginning of the exercise is mainly due to the vagal withdrawal. Thus, sympathetic stimulation contribute to the tachycardia in latter part of the exercise. In the beginning, the vagal suppression is there. That's why the tachycardia occurs. But in long run of the exercise, this sympathetically stimulated tachycardia is there. Second is increase in the stroke volume is relatively less, as vagal inhibition is major means of the cardiac changes. Third is the systolic and the diastolic pressure increases sharply. Fourth is the mean blood pressure remains elevated throughout the exercise, as exercising muscle remains tonically contracted during the isometric exercise. A skeletal muscle blood flow is grossly reduced to the mechanical vasocompression. That's why the isometric exercise is harmful for the patients. Why isometric exercise is harmful? As blood pressure remains elevated throughout the entire process of the isometric exercise, people suffering from the hypertension and the vascular anomaly should not perform these exercises. Also, these people with the heart rate should not practice isometric exercise, as they put maximum stress on the heart. The isometric exercise causes stress particularly to the heart. That's why the isometric exercise should be avoided in the hypertensive patients. Thank you.